Welcome to the Business and Beyond podcast. I'm Pete Ward, and in this podcast, I'll be interviewing business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers right across industries and verticals. We're based in Auckland, New Zealand, but today we're going global with Business and Beyond. I'll be finding out my guest's story, their solution, and their superpower. And today, I'm joined by Sebastian Obermeier from Covermania in Auckland, New Zealand. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us and spending your time and efforts telling us all about yourself and what you do, and more importantly, the why behind your business and what you do. So let's jump back now to who you are, where you grew up, and what were you doing?
So my name is Sebastian. I'm coming originally from Germany. I was born and raised there. I was trained as a sailmaker by my father.
That's cool. That's cool. What age was that?
That was 1988 till 1990, so I was in my late 20s.
Right, so you've got a ticket and you know how to make it all happen.
Yes,
right.
I do know how to make it all happen because I did the apprenticeship with my father for 3 years, and in Germany the apprenticeship is way more comprehensive than anywhere else in the world.
So you managed to stay working with your father for the 3 years. Well done. That's good.
I stayed with him for 11 years.
Oh, 11 years, there you go. Yes. Oh, so you guys must have got something going really well. It must have been a good relationship by the sounds of things.
Yes, we had a good relationship from at the beginning, but as it quite often is with fathers and sons, it doesn't work out in the long run. And I tried for 11 years, and after 11 years, I went my own way.
Okay. And that own way, well, you're in New Zealand now, so somehow or other you ended up from Germany to New Zealand. So tell me, how did you end up in New Zealand?
I ended up in New Zealand because I always had in the back of my mind I'm never going to live my whole life in Germany. It was always back there, and I just, as long as I lived in Germany, every time I came close to an airport, I wanted to drive to the airport, park the car, buy a ticket, and get out of there.
Wow.
So that was always my go as long as I lived in Germany. And I always felt this was transient, not really there.
Okay, so one day you must have done it.
I have done it. After everything fell apart with my father, I lost my partner as well, and everywhere I turned to, there was a wall, there was no door, and I thought, okay, this is the time to go. And so I had a ticket, and I had a friend in Australia, and she said to me, whenever you feel like, whenever you had enough of living in Germany, you're always welcome at my place.
Great. So it sounds like you had a bit of a plan.
I did have a plan.
Nice.
I did have a plan, but as it is with most plans, they never really work out the way you intend to.
Okay, well, tell me about that. So you went to Australia, and then somehow you ended up in New Zealand. So tell me, it didn't quite work out over there. So one day you went, I'm going to New Zealand. Why New Zealand?
Yes. I was working with a sailmaker in Cairns, and next door to the sailmaker there was a car upholsterer, and I got friendly with the car upholsterer, and we had lots of chats, and I knew my time in Australia was coming to an end, and I asked him, and he said, why don't you go to New Zealand? He said, first of all, Kiwis are crazy about sailing, and I'm sure they got a job there for you.
Well, they do call Auckland the city of sails, don't they? So, so you ended up in Auckland.
Yes, I ended up in Auckland, and it was Good Friday, 1999, at 7 o'clock at night, with nothing happening in Auckland. So I knew about New Zealand, what you hear in documentaries and travel reports, but I knew no one, basically. I had looked at sailmaker's address, and that was it.
Wow.
So
so you didn't have a job yet?
No.
And you just turned up with a suitcase?
Yes.
Wow.
And $200.
$200. and that was it.
That was it.
Wow.
That was the lot. So this was a scary moment in my life where you have, but on the other hand, really freeing as well, because you have no restrictions. Absolutely none. It's weird. It's a really weird feeling, but a good feeling as well when you make it work for yourself.
I think they call that free falling, don't they?
Yes.
Jumping out of a plane with well, sounds like you had a little parachute, not a very big one.
Yeah.
So you're obviously now working in a business. Tell me the name of the business?
My business is called Covermania, because I'm manic about covering things.
I was going to say, it sounds very much like you're still in the same game that you trained in.
Yes, I'm still in the same game, because my love for fabrics never diminished. And to get a bale of cloth and make something out of it and have a finished result is the ultimate for me.
Magic. And so you travel all around New Zealand? Or mostly in Auckland?
Mostly in Auckland.
Yep.
Mostly in Auckland. I work on boats. I do residential. I do commercial stuff. So variety is my game.
Lots of umbrellas after the wind whips through?
Umbrellas is one arm of the whole business I'm conducting. And it's quite a niche market, because there's nobody else who does it.
Oh, good.
I fix wooden umbrellas.
Wow, that's good to know.
If the struts are broken, you can bring them to me and I replace the struts.
Fantastic. And so you do boat covers and boat cushions and outdoor patio furniture cushions and anything that needs a cover on it, I guess.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, you're right.
Nice.
Anything that needs covering on, I'm your man.
Excellent.
And I like to think outside the square. For me, the quirkier stuff is the more you have to think about how to get to the end result so that it's actually good. It's looking good and it's lasting.
And do you have a favourite colour that you've ever had to put, or maybe a favourite chair? And there must be some quirky thing that you've done. Tell me about that.
Yes, there's certainly some quirky things that I've done, and I've done a few heritage chairs, and the oldest chair I've done is 250 years old, so you could not muck up on that chair.
Wow.
And that was one of the big tests I put on myself, because I had the client asked me whether I could do it, and I was thinking about it, and I thought, yes, take your time and do it.
Nice.
Because this is how you learn.
Brilliant. Yep. So you're always learning. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
You never stop learning.
Nice. Now I'm going to ask you a big question now. So if you're a superhero, what would your superpower be?
My superpower, in a way, is thinking outside the square and having a wider angle of looking at stuff and seeing in my mind what the finished product looks like to me.
Nice. So you're an
artist. Satisfied. Yeah, it has to do a lot with artistry.
Yep.
And I mean, traditionally, sailmaking is artistry.
I would agree.
It was deemed being artists for a long time, for hundreds of years.
Brilliant. Well, Sebastian, thank you very, very much for being on this podcast today and sharing your story. Well, some of your story is quite a fascinating one, and the solution that you bring, and of course your superpower. So, yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.